This is Vic Patel with Craft Express.
My name is Ashley from Artistry.
It's Gavin, founder, creator of Seps.io, and you're listening to
Two Regular Guys podcast,
Hosted by
Terry Combs RG, regular guy.
and Aaron Montgomery.
The place to be for industry news.
The best dad jokes on earth, along with relevant topics to apparel decorators.
Prepare for the wild.
Show. It is Friday, August 29th, 2025. I'm Terry Combs, and you can find me at terrycombs.com.
And I'm Aaron Montgomery with our Success Group and American Print and Supply. And this week, Terry, we've got a friend of ours, a good friend of the show. We've actually had her on a couple times now. Maybe this is the second time. I lose track, you know. When we're 6'10" plus here, you start losing track exactly of all the time of things. Yeah, there's probably time travel involved in that, Terry. But anyway, little behind the scenes joke there, you guys. But we've got Angie. She's joining us, and we're going to talk with her. She's the owner of the Shirt Shack and also a part of UX Print. And we're going to talk about how to pick the right product for your project. And Angie's just a wealth of knowledge. She's built her business from the ground up, and she just wants to share what she's learned over time. And we're excited to be able to provide a platform for her to do that, Terry. So it's going to be a great conversation today.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Make sure you stay tuned to the very end for another episode of The Secret Sauce. This week, Aaron is serving up his 3 key ingredients for managing your time. Each one's got a little spice to help you tame that chaotic schedule and finally feel in control of your day. So make sure you stay tuned to the very end for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to sharing that, Terry. You know me. We're both planning and kind of time management geeks, and man, I love what I get to do each day. And there's some tools that I've used to kind of get to that place where, yeah, if you step back from it, it could feel like chaos. It could really get you real quick, but it doesn't need to happen that way. So I got a couple tools I'm going to share today, Terry. So I'm really excited about that.
Fantastic. Looking forward to that.
Awesome.
But first,
we've got Teresa Hagel from ASI joining us here to share some news happenings in the promo and decoration world. And we really appreciate her being here with us. And she's carried quite a bit of weight. She kind of was a fill-in and had a regular program. So we love having her on here. And Terry, let's get her in here if you're ready.
Let's hear the news.
Hi, everyone. It's Teresa Hagel with ASI here to share some headlines with you guys again. First up, I have a story about print on demand. I talked to some promo and decoration experts to find out how print on demand is reshaping the promo industry. Basically, I cleared up a couple of common myths with print on demand. It's not limited to single unit orders. It includes low minimum and bulk orders produced only when needed, which reduces inventory risk. It can be profitable when supported by automation and integration, allowing distributors and decorators to streamline operations and maintain margins. Also, print on demand encompasses more than digital printing. It includes embroidery, laser engraving, and UV printing. And there's growing demand for premium and non-apparel products in print on demand. But of course, as with any kind of newer technology, challenges remain around consistency, customer expectations, and technology adoption. But industry leaders are investing in solutions to scale print on demand effectively. So the full story is on ASI, and it kind of goes into detail with all of those opportunities and challenges that exist. So I would encourage you to check that out. Next up, we have apparel suppliers broaden supply chains amid tariff concerns. This is a story that is looking into how apparel firms are kind of changing their sourcing because of tariffs. For instance, Counselor Top 40 supplier Sanmar and other apparel firms, they're moving production from China to countries with lower tariffs, such as Honduras, Vietnam, India, and Mexico, in response to escalating U.S. tariffs under President Trump. Total U.S. apparel imports from China have been steadily decreasing since a 2015 peak, falling by nearly 20% as companies diversify sourcing to Central America and Southeast Asia. Also, some firms like Royal Apparel have seen growth from their USA-made products, but the apparel industry as a whole faces obstacles to reshoring due to high labor costs, a limited domestic textile base, and a lack of available workers. The whole story, again, is really worthwhile. We have a lot of data and charts that you can kind of dig into and get a lot of value out of. So definitely check that out on our site. And finally, next up, we have news from Stalls, who is unveiling Liquid 3D emblem technology. This is a patent-pending embellishment available through its Fulfill engine platform, going back to print on demand, of course. It's designed mostly for headwear and bags. Stalls says it uses a proprietary combination of high-definition printing and adhesive integration to create these emblems. The company is hosting a launch webinar featuring in-depth demos of Liquid 3D in action on Wednesday, September 10th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. All right, back to you guys.
All right. Thank you, Teresa. Appreciate sharing all that stuff. And I love, just the depth that Teresa and her team get into there with all this stuff, right? So, man, yeah, I want to go learn about that stuff. And so make sure that you are clicking on the links. We'll have those links both in the description, in the news cut when we have that done, and also in our show notes there at over at tworegularguys.com. So check all that out. And yeah. So
I'm looking forward to seeing the Liquid 3D from Stalls. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, definitely. And so they got that launch
They're
webinar.
always coming up with new things,
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah. So check out that launch webinar that she mentioned. And I'm hoping that we'll get to see that firsthand over in Printing United in Orlando would be probably my guess also. So maybe even as early as Impressions Expo in Dallas coming up here at the first part of October as well. So, all right, Terry. Well, we've got some people checking in already. We appreciate everybody tuning in here live when you get that opportunity. If you're a podcast listener, do yourself a favor, just clear off an hour one Friday morning and come join in on the conversation here. But we've got Doug checking in from the beach of California, Pismo Beach, he says. And we've got Chuck in the chat as well. And then Aaron from Washington State here. So appreciate you guys all tuning in. We're excited to hear your feedback. One thing that we always love, Terry, is just having this become a conversation as opposed to just a bunch of talking heads here. So we're always looking for your guys' comments and questions and thoughts on what we're sharing here. So Ramona McKee, good to see Ramona. I think Ramona sent me a dad joke yesterday. I haven't had a chance to check it out. I also got a dad joke about 5 minutes before from my friend Jerry Dahlheimer. So I haven't had a chance to check either of those out yet. But my dad base is growing.
Hey, I guess I need to check in safe from the recent haboob here in Phoenix. For anybody who doesn't know what a haboob is, it's basically a dust storm, and apparently made national news. I just had a mess in the pool to clean up. Beyond that,
yeah, that's my brother lives there in Phoenix as well, and so my dad saw the news from here in Missouri and was like, "Oh, everybody okay?" I'm like, "Dad, you live there. You know what it is. It's just this really slow moving dust storm and it makes everything messy, and don't drive in the middle of it." I mean, pretty simple.
Right, exactly. Turn off your lights.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, speaking of dad jokes, Terry, I think it's about that time. Are you ready?
I am, and you have a good one, my friend.
All right, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, so Terry, just the other day I was on this diabetes awareness site, and it asked me if I accepted cookies.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I is that a trick question?
That's a good one.
I cannot take full credit for that. I did find that on a Dads on Docs. If you've ever seen those reels, they can be pretty darn hilarious. So that's where I pulled that one from.
Last week, from the babies telling dad jokes.
Yeah.
through them.
Yep. In fact, pretty sure that's the one that Jerry sent me this morning was babies telling dad jokes. Yeah. So I'll report back on that.
All right. Hey, before we dive in, we want to thank everybody for checking out the Two Regular Guys podcast. We need your voices. We would love to have the regulators participate in the show intros. Go to osg.link/intro, read a few sentences, be a part of every show. We are always looking for new guests. So if you or anyone you know would like to join us, go to calendly.com/2 regular guys to book a future episode, or you can email us at info@tworegularguys.com with your show ideas. If you are listening to the podcast version of the show, we would appreciate you sharing the Two Regular Guys podcast with all of your industry friends so they can become regulators too. We would appreciate you giving us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Podcasts, YouTube Podcast, wherever you do your podcast listening, we are there. And if you're watching us live, please join in with your comments and your questions.
Indeed. Yep. Definitely want you guys in here. Share this with your friends. Let's have a great Two Regular Guys here today. All right, Terry. Well, speaking of great Two Regular Guys, are you ready to bring in our guest? I
am. Let's get started.
All right. Excellent. Hey, Angie, welcome in. Appreciate you being here. So I'm just going to get right into this, right? I know we've had you on not too terribly long ago, so you guys want to make sure you go back and catch that episode. It was amazing. But for anybody that didn't hear that episode, just give us a quick brief, your journey, right? What brought you here today?
Perfect. So we are celebrating 5 years next month. So I started in sublimation, bleaching t-shirts and, just kind of diving straight into that. Went to my first trade show, met you guys, both of you guys actually, at that first trade show, Impressions Expo in Atlantic City.
Yep.
And, not too long after that, I think, my DTG was delivered from Equipment Zone while I was at Impressions Expo.
Nice.
So that was pretty exciting. And that's the machine that took us from hobbyist craft and really propelled us into the industry and gave us a great start.
Yes.
Great people over there, great information, great tech support. Anytime I had anything going on, they were on top of it 100%.
We love to hear that.
So, and then, when we bought the printer, I wasn't really sure about supplies or, really too much at all. And they walked me through the process, got me started with Image Armor, great pre-treatment product there, and just got us really set. And then after I was in the industry for a while and we discovered RTP Apparel and pre-treated shirts and, amped up the game even more because it saved us a lot more time. For printing there. And then from there, we built the platform. TikTok shop went live. We, had the Shopify live. We still had the Etsy store booming and running. And I was going to every trade show I could possibly get to, doing the education sectors of everything and just absorbing everything like a sponge. Second year in, we set records with the company. And then now we're, I've learned so much and I've been so fortunate to be around industry pros, just kind of taking me in and surrounding, myself with them and asking the questions that you need to know instead of just sitting back and trying to figure it out on your own. And, this, I wouldn't be where I was at without you guys and some other industry pros, really, taking me by the side and kind of showing me the ropes a little bit.
Love it.
That's awesome. Great story.
Yeah, definitely.
I know.
And it was great to meet you in person. Sorry, Terry.
And you have to be that sponge, get out there. When I first started, man, I went to seminar after seminar after seminar at the trade shows, just out of one into another one, filling my yellow legal pad with tons of notes. So, but so Angie, over the past year, What changes have you noticed in how custom apparel businesses are marketing themselves effectively?
So the biggest change that I've seen is digital marketing. Last time we talked, we were taking, t-shirts around and handing out samples with style numbers on them and contact information and really branding a blank. And that's kind of what we built the business on was, branding the blank and taking our personal favorite items out into the community and pretty much anywhere I went to, and just started almost like t-shirt cannon launching t-shirts at businesses and saying, here, take it, just
Did
take
you really
it,
do
just
that,
look
by
at
the
it.
way?
I
Do you have
might
a
have.
t-shirt cannon? All right.
I do.
Atta girl.
It's been effective at times.
Nice.
It's always fun. It's just a fun thing to do. And that's the biggest thing is we have to think outside the box when it comes to marketing. And nothing is, an original thought with marketing because someone's kind of been there, done that, but you can always tweak it and put your own personal touch on it.
Yeah.
I don't know that anyone showed up to some of these businesses with a t-shirt cannon. They sit down rather quickly and, that gets their attention because it's not, normal. Everyone's posting a reel. Everyone's on TikTok, everyone's, throwing dollars at, Facebook ads and, kind of the normal stuff, but, sometimes you got to take the risk and go for it.
Yeah. Love that. I'm just envisioning it too. Angie walking in, t-shirt cannon kind of over the shoulder, shooting t-shirts through like the tiles, ceiling tiles. It just sounds amazing. Confetti probably flying.
I have
That's
a
right.
wonderful group of people that, that I've got to know in the industry this far.
Yeah.
And, there are people where I can go in and just be like, hey, guess what? Boom. And they're going to laugh about it. And they've been really cool about it. And they talk about it on socials, and some of
Yeah.
it we have video of. And it's just a real fun time.
Yeah,
Just
that's
get a
awesome.
conversation started however you can sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the cannon. Sometimes, it's an email. Just kind of depends on the person.
Yeah. I love that tip right there, you guys. Just get a conversation started however you can, quotable. So we should
100%.
hashtag that. If we were better at that, we'd like have our social media on point. But yeah, I'm terrible at it. So anyways, but I want to also then, okay, great. So definitely seeing changes. I love all these tips, but what's our best return on investment then? Right? Like if we're trying to do everything, trying to be all things to everyone, I don't think that's really a sustainable marketing method here. So what do you think is maybe our best ROI, or what are you seeing, at least for you, that's your best ROI?
It's not Facebook ads. It's not marketplace, Facebook marketplace, posts or offerings. It's not even so much TikTok anymore. As a society, we've kind of, ran away, so to speak, from in-person conversations, where, grandma would write a letter home, or grandpa would write a letter home to grandma. And, it was that handwritten special touch that we don't really, do anymore. And that's what I found the most success in, is being genuine, not being salesy, building a rapport with your customers, being there even when they don't need you. And being supportive in different ways, and just showing up, scheduling an appointment, dropping off some donuts if you have to. Just kind of all the special touches that we've kind of lost sight with throughout the years, and getting back to that, even sending after the meeting a personal thank you card and mailing it out, snail mail, and, your signature on there and everything.
So kicking it old school, Terry, there's hope for us dinosaurs.
I know. We haven't had much activity on the Two Regular Guys MySpace recently, so we should try something new. So you talked about you mentioned earlier about Instagram. So how have platforms like Instagram Reels, other user-generated content shifted the way you reach and engage with customers?
So the biggest shift that I saw is that with Meta, so Facebook and Instagram there, you can pay now to get verified. So it's no longer based on quality videos. It's no longer based on branding. It's no longer based on, your insights. It's you pay to play at this point. And the price is actually a pretty reasonable price. Which the good part is about anyone can get verified now. The bad part is it's no longer exclusive. So it's not something that really sets you apart. From the guy down the road, so it took the market in a little bit different direction. I was not verified. I do not plan on getting verified, because when your marketing is on point, your business is on point, and your customer base is going to follow that. Just be active. If it's posting a silly video, go post a silly video. I've got great views from, being in production for 2 weeks to get a video out, working on all these special effects and all these really cool things. And then the one that I post going through the Taco Bell driveway in my shirt, in my branded shirt, just being goofy, that one goes viral. I don't understand it all the time. And that's kind of what they do. They kind of keep it a secret. So like there's no one way to go viral, but if you think it's a cool idea, just post it. Drop a link in the bottom and just go with it. It doesn't have to be a stressful situation. It can just be fun. Like, let's make marketing fun again.
Yeah. Love it. Wow. All right. We haven't even really started getting into the topic yet where we're talking about picking the right thing for the project, but we just knew, how you've built this. And so we wanted to get some of that stuff. But we need to take a real quick break. We've got our sponsors, Promo Hunt, that we want to get that information out, and then let's go dive into the rest of this. So Eric, whenever you're ready, let's hear a quick word from Promo Hunt, and then we'll come back with Angie here.
If you sell decorated apparel, then you're constantly on supplier websites like Sanmar, Alpha Broder, and SNS Activewear, comparing prices and checking inventory. Stop wasting time comparing prices the hard way. Just install PromoHunt's free browser extension. Then, when you're on a supplier website, PromoHunt will automatically compare your prices with all your suppliers and will let you know if you can save. With PromoHunt, you'll always be just one click away from seeing all your prices and inventory in one screen. PromoHunt shows other helpful information too, like similar product ideas, supplier phone numbers, preferred pricing, and coupons on thousands of supplier websites. PromoHunt saves you time and money, helping you quickly find and buy great products at competitive prices. The best part is that PromoHunt is completely free. Join 7,000 decorators and distributors that use PromoHunt every day to save time and money. Visit promohunt.com and sign up in less than 60 seconds.
All right. Well, you guys check that out. It's and then if you'll add /apparel to the end of that, promohunt.com/apparel, it will take you right there. And that way you've got direct linked into that. So, all right. Terry, we got now we're going to finally really get into the topic. But again, like I said, Angie's just a wealth of knowledge here. So I wanted to, we wanted to get some other information from her first to kind of set the table, so to speak. All right. So we're marketing, you're having these conversations, you're building relationships. Now you're really switched gears, probably in my mind to how do we solve the problem, right? We're putting that problem solving cap on. And so maybe just share with us, your process for helping customers kind of choose the right blanks, apparel, all the details that kind of need to happen to come together for this project to work.
So I operate under a good, better, best situation.
Okay.
So I'm narrowing it down to 3 samples based on where they're at in the process. So are we looking for strictly promo? Are we looking for something that's comfortable and we're going to wear over and over again? Is it a 5K race and we're only going to wear the shirt for one day and then we're probably going to wear it here and there, but it's not going to be a staple in our wardrobe? Yeah. So there is one shirt that I take to every single meeting. Every single sales meeting I go to, I'm taking this one shirt. And it's no surprise that, while I have built this pretty awesome business, I'm in a different setting today. So, when it comes to apparel, I like to think I'm a little bit of an apparel geek or nerd or whatnot, because I'm touching all the fabric. Like, I get samples in and I gotta see this. I'm printing on it, I'm wearing it, washing it, wearing it, washing it, going through the whole thing. Do your wash test. Order 2 of the same shirt, wash test one of them, and have one that's never even touched water, hasn't touched your printing processes. Like, just have that raw blank straight from the mill and be able to compare that back to the original. Because what we are doing is oh, cool, I got a sample t-shirt, awesome, let me go wash it, let me go print on it, let me go try it out. But then we don't have the original to compare it back to, because we have altered the original. And that's something I messed up in the beginning too, because I just wanted, just give me one sample.
Yeah.
No, give me 2 samples, give me 3 samples. I need to torture test this and figure out if I can destroy the garment. That's just what we do. Because ultimately, I don't want to have them come back and say, hey, I washed it 3 times. It has some holes in it. Hey, I washed it 3 times and, it's stretching weird, or it's shrunk completely up. Hey, the DTF cracked. Right? Because that's not always a DTF user error. That sometimes is a washing machine error. It's a user error on the other end, because, we're washing on high heat, drying it on high heat, and putting fabric softener in the wash and, in the dryer too. Dryer sheets, we got to figure this stuff out before we hand it to the customer. Because ultimately they're going to do this stuff. I do this stuff. I don't even pay attention. I need something. Forgot to wash a t-shirt the night before that I won't wear the next day. And what am I doing? High heat, get it out and put it on, right? That's kind of what we do sometimes. So I would definitely say that's the important part.
Cool.
Your medium became a smedium, I guess.
Yes, it did. And you did not have too many tacos. And that's not the problem.
That's not the problem.
That darn Jay Bassell. All right.
All right. So give us an example where the wrong blank choice caused an issue for you.
So wrong blank choice. I had a 5K race. They wanted the cheapest possible shirt. So what did I do? I went online and I found the cheapest possible white shirt, because they needed to be at a certain price point, which was not very much at all. And shockingly, they wanted full color, but the cheapest shirt possible. So we kind of, we talked through that, and they went with their one color. I said, we can do, or I said, let's do one color. I said, but let's go for a better blank t-shirt. They said, nope, we want full color. So, you have to kind of educate the customer on where you're at on that process, because you can either have a really awesome blank and maybe a one color screen, or you can have a less, a shirt that has a little bit less quality to it and have full color if they're on a very strict budget. Sometimes we can't have the best of both worlds. So that's kind of where my issue came in. Went on, ordered a shirt. It was blank price. It was low. It was in the $2 ballpark there. And great price on the shirt. Got it, touched it, held it up. The sizings were not consistent. So all the mediums were not the same size. It was a very crunchy cotton. This is why I say sample, sample, sample. If you want to test a new shirt, go to your rep, ask for a sample. Because before you're placing this order for 300 shirts, you want to know what that's going to feel like, because I guarantee you when you hand it over to the customer, they're going to touch the crunchy cotton that's around, less than $2 a shirt, and they're probably not going to be overly thrilled about it. So what happened is I ordered all of the shirts. And as soon as I touched them, I said, absolutely not. We can't do these. We repurposed them. We had a different project to work on for those. And I went and ordered the shirts that I wanted to order in the beginning, and I ate the cost. Did we make money? No.
Yeah.
Were we negative? Absolutely. Did the customer come back? Yes. Did we make up the profit eventually? We did. Customer service is going to go a long way in these situations.
Yeah.
And that was on me. That was my mistake, because I got hyper about it, and I got, kind of in the weeds, so to speak, with the project, and didn't order it the day I was planning on ordering it, ordered it a day later. And you know what happens. You just kind of, it'll be fine. And it cost us some money.
Yeah, absolutely. So Ramona says you can add care instructions, but at home it goes in with everything else, right? Like, yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
And then Doug asks, what's the blank you take with you every time?
So it is UX print.
Yeah.
I was a customer before I came to work for UX print. And I can tell you that I interviewed with other companies. I can tell you that I used other blanks. Completely transparent about that whole situation, where, I found the brand about a year before I came on board here. And I'm very different when it comes to where I choose to place myself within the industry. And it's kind of one of those things, such as this podcast. If I didn't think you guys were absolutely amazing and just, killing it in the industry, I wouldn't be here, because I only put myself in situations that I truly believe in products and people that I know have just added a wealth of information to this industry. And that's one thing that I do pride myself on, is the fact that if I'm going to put a shirt out there, put a person out there, put a, printing process out there, it's because I believe in it. And it's not just because. So when I came on board here, I was so excited. And Aaron, I reached out to Aaron within the first few days here, and I was very excited. I'm still very excited. And I'm excited because these UX shirts are the ones that we are taking with us to our events. When we're doing pop-ups, if I can put the shirt on a white, black, athletic gray, navy, or red, this is the shirt that I'm bringing to the event time after time. That's the blank of my choice. People are touching it, people are feeling it, and they're like, I've never felt something like this before. And it's a good weight for a shirt, no matter what the project is.
Love it. Cool. Well, speaking of projects and processes, Terry, what else do we want to learn from Angie here?
Well, Angie, you mentioned taking delivery on your DTG machine a few years ago. How do you explain to your customers the difference in a DTG print and a DTF print?
So I just had a conversation about this the other day, and I always say it's a hybrid between a DTF and traditional screen print. It's kind of, if they were to get married, this is the product of it. This would be their child, is the DTG print. I like it. It's, some people will say, oh, DTF inks sometimes feel like a sticker, or they feel like more vinyl-y. That's a process issue. We're not curing correctly. We're not second pressing correctly. Like there's stuff you can do to fix that. But as a whole, that's kind of where DTF has got to, is they're like, it feels hot on my shirt. And And then, for those things, and their minds are set, they don't want DTF. That's just not their preference. And then, that's where the DTG comes in. They're like, hey, I like traditional screen print, but they only want maybe 5, 10, 15 shirts. No one's going to fire up their screen print business for 5 shirts. We're burning screens, multiple screens, and those numbers just don't come out. But the DTG, you can sling one shirt on there, print it out, press it, and you're good. The application is so easy to do. And the time it takes is, minimal compared to setting up a whole screen print project. So I'd say that is a great way to go for sure.
I find that screen printers are more critical of the DTF print than the end customer is. And so sometimes it takes a little education of the decorators to the different processes.
Yes, you have to know your machines. You have to know your processes. Just because you have a DTG and maybe you have never looked at, the process of screen printing, go check it out.
Yeah.
There's thousands of people, in this industry that you're like, hey, I have a DTG, but I've never seen screen print. Screen printing is an art. It's not just something you pick up, you start, you squeegee a few times and it's perfect. There is definitely an art to screen printing. And you should know that. Going into, any sales meeting. If you don't offer DTF, you should still know the process of DTF, because your job there is to inform and educate first and foremost. And then they can make their decision based on, the information that's provided, but they can never come back and say, well, you didn't tell me A, B, and C. So make sure we're educating, and selling, but still having that education portion to it too. It'll gain trust and build rapport with them as well.
Yeah.
If you'd like to learn the art of screen printing, I'll be teaching a screen printing class next weekend in Chicago at Atlas Screen Supply.
There you go. Yeah, I was just thinking that, Terry, like when Angie said there's thousands of people that aren't familiar with screen printing, I'm like, that had to hurt Terry's soul, I think.
I'm sure it did hurt your soul a little bit, Terry, but the great part about this is even if they don't know, they can come learn.
Yep.
And it's an environment where, you can ask questions and be open. And, Terry, anytime I've ever came to you with a question, you have been wonderful about education and explaining it to me and really breaking it down to a beginner level and then kind of building the information from there. So it's been great.
So true. That's what we're all about here. And so, Angie, this is great because, again, I feel like we are educating people. We've got a lot of different variations of people from, starting out to been around for a little while, into, Terry's realm and beyond there. But there's still misconceptions out there, right? Like, I know you've heard it. I've heard it. What are some of the misconceptions you're hearing out there about, especially some of these newer methods, DTG, DTF, things like that?
The one I heard the other day was DTG is dying. It's not. Newsflash. So full disclosure, DTG, I'm printing on Epson Sure Color F2100. That's not a new printer. It's been out there for a minute. It's a workhorse though. I've not had Epson at one time. I've had minimal technical issues with it, and most of them were user error. So, it was kind of one of those things. And that machine is an absolute workhorse. I've not printed, and I don't want to disclose this, and please do not try this at home. But I've left that printer sit for 6 months without unplugged for 6 months, just sitting there. Fire it up. I did have to run some print head checks. We had to clean the head a little bit. But you know what? I had 5 print head cleanings and we were good to go. We were back in business. I won't say that I tried to kill the machine because, it wasn't cheap, but it was a worthwhile investment. But that thing's great. So I would say, that's a common misconception.
Yeah.
DTF is like a sticker. It is not like a sticker. Your second press, you just didn't press it correctly.
Yeah.
Another one is colors fade on DTG once you cure the print. Okay. Well, does heat impact color? It will a little bit. Why? Because it's drying the ink. When you paint your bedroom and you paint it the prettiest shade of Tahiti blue, and then it dries and it's like, it's a muted Tahiti blue. It's still there, but it's not as pretty as it was when it was wet. And that's just things on an education level that we can, teach. And just, it's going to come out of the printer and those colors are going to look like the most bold colors in the world. But so does that paint on your wall too. And when we can relate things to common everyday, maintenance with your house, such as painting, and painting a mural on the wall, just kind of relating it to things we've seen in person. And then, shifting that over to this industry, I think that we will set realistic expectations for what a final product's going to look like.
There has been a real resurgence in DTG, people getting into DTG printing in 2025. I was just talking to one of the magazine folks about it, and they were doing a piece on it because they'd seen it as well. So I think DTF kind of took that space for about a year or two, and but it's definitely back. But I want to talk about something else. I want to talk about something that's near and dear to my heart that I'm going to be talking about next week in my screen printing class, and that is what the customer receives, that package they receive. So, what do you think packaging does? Or how does it play a big role in branding and in getting repeat orders?
So packaging is tricky. There's over the top, and then there's just enough, and then there's nothing at all. I do not suggest slapping it in a poly mailer and sending it out with the best of luck, like you do your 18-year-old when they go to college. Like, here's a $20 bill. Have a great time. Bring back cool things when you get back. We shouldn't treat shipping and packaging just, casually. We do need to put some thought into it. I'm always a big person on stickers. I love stickers. Getting some die cut stickers thrown in there. We've thrown in airheads into packaging. Make sure you're putting them in Ziploc bags because you don't know where they're going and how long they're going to sit in the heat. And you don't know how well they've sealed the products. Life lesson learned. Definitely there. No one ever got mad about you putting a few goodies in the package. That can be as simple as, hey, I don't really want to invest in stickers. I don't really want to, go get bulk airheads so I can put in the package because they might not like the flavor. Put a coupon in there. Put a reason to come back. Put a reason to place a first order. Packaging is not just for initial contact with the customer. Packaging is, hey, I just placed an order. You received your order, and then, about a week later, hey, thank you. Here's an extra few shirts, and here's some cool promo products. And oh, by the way, did you know that we are now printing on golf towels? We know you have a golf outing coming up. Here's a towel with your logo on it that you can take out there and spark some conversation. So the packaging matters. Now, I would not advise going out on, Amazon and buying the coolest foil package that you can get. That's, $12 for the package. And then you're going to put, some packing material in that. And that's going to be another $10. Like, make it realistic. But definitely look at your customer that you're sending out to and kind of brand it from there. My branding with that Shirt Shack is gold and pink. the most obnoxious pink that you can find, and gold, like metallic gold. Um, so if someone's sending me a package, for example, and they find my brand colors and they adapt brand colors to packaging, that is the coolest package in the world. And I'm going to tell everyone that's the coolest package in the world. So that's just kind of how it is, when it comes to packaging. We've even found tissue paper for a 5K run, and we had they were little men running on the tissue paper, and that's kind of what we put over top of the box. As soon as you open the box, you see the tissue paper. Just little touches that you can add to make packaging on the next level, because as much as the product is awesome, and they remember the product, they remember the presentation even more.
Exactly right. It's all about the presentation.
Yeah.
100%.
I love it. And, like, for example, get one of the little folders, that they have out there, $20 off Amazon, right? And you talked about tissue paper. Take a little piece of that tissue paper and actually put it inside of the fold. And the way that thing will be, it just has a more healthy feel to it, right? And again, that initial reaction, when people get stuff, we have two reactions, right? Where we're trying to kind of justify this purchase in our brain. And one reaction could be underwhelmed. Now your perceived value of the item has gone out the window, and you're kind of like having buyer's remorse. Or overwhelmed in a good way, in a, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is way more than I expected. And now you can't wait to A, get another one, and B, tell your friends about it, right? Because you made this great purchase and you're excited about it. And I think packaging can play a huge role in that. So I appreciate you sharing that with us, Angie.
Absolutely. And perceived value is a good thing. So they haven't even opened the box of their shirts yet. They don't even know what to expect. They've probably spent a healthy amount of money, or maybe an unhealthy amount of money, depending on, who's bought. And when you amp up your packaging, that sets that up so you have so much more perceived value. And not that the products aren't good, but that sets the excitement up. And then when they open it up and they see the shirts, is amplified. If the package is, packaging, say you send it out and the shipping service, the box was half open, or, there was something that happened in shipment. That happens. It's just part of it. But if you can add the perceived value so they can get excited about it, they're not like, oh man, my box is smashed. The box is smashed, but it looks pretty cool. Check it out. So, you can get ahead of a lot of issues by just putting a little bit extra effort into it, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because if they're underwhelmed by the presentation, right, they're immediately going through it with a fine tooth comb so they can justify complaining about how bad it was, right? Like, yeah,
absolutely.
For sure. When I was involved with selling a lot of blankets, right, just the change of adding a 5-cent clear bag and folding it a little bit more carefully before put it in that clear bag, then into the shipper. It drastically reduced our customer service complaints by about 30%, just like that.
Absolutely.
Amazing. So, and Barb shares, packaging is a good way to upsell your other products, right? I've heard Terry talk about that a lot, sticking a hat in the top. If you've sold them shirts, and all of a sudden you got a bunch of hat orders, right? So yeah, cool. I love all this, man. Angie, you and I have talked, before on our own too, right? We could talk about this stuff for hours. And so we're definitely going to have you back. But before I get one last piece of advice out of you guys, I want you to check out uxprint.us/Angie. Go check that out. And you get in there, and I think, right, it gives you the details. You can create a new account right there, right? And, just reach out to Angie and she can help you figure out what's right for you. I know I've got some samples over there. I can't wait to try. I haven't been able to get up to American Print and Supply yet, but I've got a trip planned and within 2 weeks. So that's one of my to-do list items. I go through the testing process there myself. But Angie, if a new decorator came to you today, you're just standing on the street and they looked over and you're like, man, this girl, I can tell she knows what she's doing. what's a piece of advice that you'd give them that might save them some headaches down the road?
I would say a lot of the stuff we've talked about on here,
Yeah.
it is double check your print before you press it onto your shirt. Make sure it's not upside down. Make sure the heat press is set for the correct application
Yeah.
because if you are pressing DTF print, you're going to need that pressure to be a little bit on the heavier side. We're looking for about 60 PSI. If you are curing a DTG print, you do not want 60 PSI. You want it to barely touch the shirt, if not hover slightly above the shirt.
Yeah.
It's double check. Double check, triple check if you have to. Make sure you are going out and being approachable. Make sure, you're wowing your customers and just be yourself. People know when you're not being genuine. People know when you really don't want to do something. If setting up customer meetings and sales meetings is not your thing, do not do it. Just please don't. If you feel more comfortable emailing and reaching out on the phone, then that's the way that you shape your business. Just because of how I do my business doesn't mean that's how you should do your business.
Yeah.
You do what's comfortable for you, what works for you, and what makes you happy and content. Because the thing that sets us all apart is we all have a different way to do things and achieve similar results. So I certainly would not tell someone that does not like public speaking to go into a room of, 3 sales execs and sit down and give a presentation. If you have questions, yeah, exactly. If you have questions, ask about it. Practice selling, all of that information there.
Cool. Angie, I love it. And I was giggling when you were talking about the double checking because I can envision the times where I'm like pressing and trying to make adjustments at the same time. Oh, it'll be fine. Let me just, crank that. Yeah. Oh, the temperature's a little bit low. No, we'll just go. Yeah. Right. Huh. It never worked out though. I don't know why.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Angie, for coming on again. And we will.
Angie, sorry, Terry, didn't mean to cut you off. I just went, we got that link, uxprint.us/Angie. How else can people connect with you, Angie, just before we let you go?
So they can send a message on our website, and then they can call or text me, and I can give you guys that phone number here too.
Okay.
It's 740-359-5697.
Cool. All right.
And
we'll get that into our show notes.
Yep, that they can get me there. And then my email address also is Angie@uxprint.us.
There you go. Love it. Thank you, Angie. We so appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it as well.
See you soon.
See ya.
All right.
Cool. Terry, what great information. Yeah, I always love having her on. And, I think I really love about it too, Terry, is, this is somebody that's like in it, right? And close to it, right? She went from hobby into a very successful business here, and she's done the work. She's taken the steps, right? So this is not just a head knowledge. This is what she's done. And I love that she shared at the end there too, Terry, like, this is the way I do it. Don't do it this way if that's not who you are, but hear the inspiration there is really what I'm thinking, right? So
exactly, find your way.
Yep.
So
yep, for sure.
Great info.
Cool. Yeah, we can't wait to have her back on. So I even talked to her about a couple of other things. So we'll see what we can do here to get those shows going, and maybe even a secret sauce here or there. I don't know.
There you go. Yeah, good idea.
Sure. So, all right, Terry. Well, you mentioned the screen printing class coming up here next week, right? That's Times fly when you have fun, right? What else you got happening? Obviously, share a little bit more about that, please.
Yeah, my complete screen printing business course. I will be at Chicago at atlasscreensupply.com, and that is September 6th and 7th. And my next class there in Chicago will be November 1st and 2nd. No snow, please. And And of course, I'll be at Printing United October 22nd through 24th in Orlando. And you can watch for all of my upcoming events at terrycombs.com. How about you, Aaron?
Yeah. So looking forward to that. And definitely you guys, if you haven't been to one of Terry's classes, even if you're not planning on being a screen printer, like Angie said, just to get the information about it and understand how it works. I'm sure you've probably lost count at this point, how many people you've trained, but it blows me away every time I get to go hang out with Terry somewhere, how there's always somebody coming up and like, hey, Terry, I was in your screen print class 8 years ago, 5 years ago, and Terry,
It all starts with, I know you don't remember me, but
and Terry's like, no, I totally remember you. It's really cool to see. So anyhow, you guys make sure you check that out, terrycombs.com. For me, before we get to Orlando, I'm going to be at the Impressions Expo in Dallas, and really excited to be out there. And going to be hanging out with my friends at American Print and Supply. But I also get to facilitate a little bit of a panel about DTF, kind of the good, the bad, and the ugly, and really kind of digging into that. Got a few people from different places too, different kind of aspects. In fact, our friend Dane Clement's going to be on that panel, so I wanted to try to get as many different perspectives for people. So it wasn't like, oh, this is a sales pitch, or, that they're just telling me what makes their stuff look good. That's not it at all. We wanted to bring all sorts of different opinions to that. So looking forward to that. Impressionsexpo.com is where you can get registered for that event. And I believe I've got one other seminar, but I think we're still working on details of that. I know it's getting close, but just the way these things go. Right. And then, as you mentioned, Printing United, just every single freaking day I get excited about it because I get some email, here's something that we're doing. And in fact, even next week, we've got Elizabeth Lyons joining us to talk about some of the women in print stuff that's happening there at Printing United. So who doesn't want to be in Florida in the end of October? I mean, Terry, you're worried about snow, up there in Chicago. Well, no such worry in Florida, right? So come on out to Florida, October 22nd through the 24th. If you want to use the code 141404, that will get you free registration there, printingunited.com/attend. I am going to be one busy guy, and I cannot wait for it. I get to teach 3 different sessions there. I will be hosting and emceeing the annual Media Day event. And I get to facilitate 2 other sessions in the Apparel Zone. And we're going to be doing a live podcast there. So if I'm floating around on cloud 9, you'll know why, because just living in my zone of greatness there. I can't wait.
You're going to be getting your garment decorating fix.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Back to the people, all the people that we love in this industry. So I can't wait to see everybody there for sure. As far as Eric, he is going to be bringing you the Take Up as he's been doing for 234 plus episodes now. So that's Take Up episode 234 today. And he's going to be talking about tackling the self-served trend, inspiration and exploration. So Eric will answer some of the user questions about self-serve customization and creating decoration experiences, taking hints from current trends. So let's talk about getting inspired without copying when responding to trends and creating your own designs and decoration stations. So join him at 2:30 Mountain Time and 4:30 Eastern Time to share your experiences about how you've kind of jumped on trends and brought your own flair and spin to it. And all the other amazing information that Eric brings at these take-up sessions. So you can check that out at ericcampbell.com and just click the take-up tab at the top to find the show. And you can also see all the past episodes from that locale as well. And then Eric will also be out at the Impressions Expo teaching the technique toolkits and all about mascot embroidery and digitizing. So I'm looking forward to, I haven't seen Eric in person in some time, so I cannot wait for that. We'll have to, I don't know. We got to get you out there, Terry. I'll put you on my panel if you can make it to Texas. All right. Well, should we do some secret sauce here?
Yeah. I was going to do Eric's for you so you could take a breather, but
I just kept reading. I'm sorry. Old habits die hard. All right. Well, let's do the secret sauce. Well, welcome into another episode of The Secret Sauce here. I'm Chef Aaron Montgomery. I should have got a chef hat, but I love sharing secret recipes for building businesses that you actually love. And today we're going to cook up a sauce that every entrepreneur needs so they can get control of their time. And these are not your typical time management tips, because here's the truth. We really don't have a time management problem. What the challenge is we have a priority management problem. And just like in cooking, the things you leave out matter just as much as the things that you add in. So today I'm going to share 3 key ingredients for productivity sauce that's spicy, satisfying, and a whole lot easier to digest. So let's dive in here. Ingredient number 1, the flow and capture system. So I think every great sauce starts with a base, and this one starts with the flow and capture system, because when we're in flow with what is important to us, right? Not important to the world or external, what's important to us, we can better prioritize. And when we feel confident, we have all the potential ingredients to get into flow more easily. So here's the flow system that I use that might be an inspiration for you. For me, it all starts with, what are your 12-month goals? What's kind of that flavor profile or the North Star of your recipe? Because without that, you're kind of just throwing random spices into the pot and just hoping that it tastes good. So we need to start with that 12-month goal. Then from there, we kind of stir in the rest of the ingredients. We've got our quarterly reviews, and this is kind of the taste as you go, right? If you've ever watched any cooking competitions, the chefs are always grabbing a spoon and taking a taste and just making sure they're on target. And that's what this quarterly review is for. Just looking at what our actions have been, how we can improve those actions within our goal, big goal process, right? This next part is our monthly reviews. And for me, a monthly review is really just about celebrating. That was never a strong suit of mine. And I realized that my internal dopamine reward system was missing that. And once I started celebrating the things I already had accomplished, amazingly, more things started to get accomplished because I was chasing that dopamine reward hit. And so that monthly review for me is really just an honest assessment, but also just a time to celebrate. What in the last 30 days, what have I been able to accomplish? Give ourselves a little pat on the back, and that's a good thing. And then from there, weekly plan. It's kind of like your grocery list. And for me, it's 10 to 15 projects or actions that I'm committing to accomplishing during this next 7-day cycle. And then finally, a daily plan. And from there, I kind of pull out 3 to 5 tasks, maybe key ingredients. And another really important part is that in my daily plan, I'm really focused on the things that I'm grateful for, because then I can focus on what I have and not what I don't have. And that allows me to keep moving forward. But if you see that flow, right, that just keeps me in flow. That's my system. And so think about it like this way. Like, you can't cook in a kitchen that's a mess, right? There's just everything. You don't know where anything is. There's everything all over the place. And so the next phase here is really about then what's your capture system? Our brains can kind of be like that, a little bit of a mess, right? We've got maybe multiple yellow legal pads. We've got multiple notes, Post-it notes, things like that everywhere. And all of your ideas, your tasks, and your commitments, we need to get that into one master list, one place and one place only. And so not a ton of recipe cards everywhere, the Post-it notes, all that stuff, right? Here's the thing. Too many notes spoil the broth. So for me personally, I use Asana, but there's other tools out there like Trello or Monday.com. Even just a single dedicated notebook will work. But my trick is, when I add a task, I tag it to show up on a Sunday before it might matter. And there's a reason for the Sunday thing, because when I plan my week, that's on a Sunday afternoon, and I decide if those tasks are worth kind of cooking in the course of that week or letting it simmer a little bit longer, and then I push the task off. Now, here's the next step. If I push that task off more than 5 times, and I think I borrowed this from Terry, to be honest with you, I take that due date off of that task, and I just review all the tasks that don't have due dates on it by the end of the year. And honestly, by then, 9 times out of 10, that ingredient wasn't worth adding, or it was actually completed in another way, or whatever the case may be. But then I'm never worried about losing anything. So that's the first ingredient. Have that kind of state of flow, but then also a capture system that allows you to kind of clear the noise up here. The second ingredient is what I call the calendar spice. We just really need to give it some structure here. And so this is where your calendar come in. Most of us have a to-do list, and we kind of treat our calendar as a cookbook that we never open. But your calendar is really that spice rack that sets your flavor of the week. And calendars are not just for your external appointments. I've got this doctor's appointment, I get this meeting with a client. Calendars are built to manage our time. And so if we feel like we're not in control of our time, your calendar is the best tool to do that. Now, here's how you do it. You block off your non-negotiables first, right? Whether that's family time, faith, rest, health, and and look at that as like your salt and pepper of the recipe here, right? And so adding those time blocks, and then also the next kind of what we would consider big rocks from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People book. What are the biggest priorities for your business, right? So instead of saying, oh, I've got to do marketing this week, make it a 90-minute block of specifics. Maybe you're going to cook up 3 reels, right? But put it on the calendar and make that a calendar like appointment with the most important person in your life, because that's the truth. It is an appointment with the most important thing to build your business. You can't skip those ingredients, right? And to remove the stress of juggling a giant to-do list, because when you use this calendar approach, now you've gotten rid of the decision of when is this going to happen? It's on my calendar. I already know. I can just get it done. All right. Now, third and final ingredient that I want to share with you guys today is what I'm calling the Parkinson's chili pepper, right? And this is not Parkinson's like the disease. This is actually Parkinson's law. And Parkinson's law says that work expands to fill the time that you give to it. So in the kitchen, that's kind of like leaving the pot to simmer all day until it boils over and burns, or just becomes this dry mess. And I believe that a lot of us are too busy because of this very fact, right? The truth is we're giving our work too much space. So what I would say, cut the cooking time, right? If your blog post is something that normally takes 3 hours, try to write it in 90 minutes. Set a timer. And that deadline is really going to give you that space to go, okay, I can get more done. And the reality is you can get more done. We're just leaving too much space for it. So when you've got a timer running, magic's going to happen. And another tool that you can use there is get some accountability. Tell somebody, yep, I'm going to have that blog post done today, right? And then set yourself that 90-minute time block, set a timer, and get to it. And here's the deal. Like all of these things that I've just shared, it isn't about time. It's about priorities. So if you use a flow and capture system, so nothing falls through the cracks, you treat your calendar like a contract, so your yeses are real, and you understand Parkinson's law, so your work doesn't eat up too much time and energy, now you're going to have control over your time. You mix those things all together and you've got a productivity sauce that's both tasty and effective. So the key is remembering you don't need every spice in the cabinet. You just need the right ingredients in the right order. So try this recipe out and let me know how that goes for you. And that's my secret sauce.
Awesome. That made me hungry to do some planning today.
Yes.
No, that's all great stuff. I love that. But you and I are planning nerds, so
we are. Yes. So yes, I hope everybody enjoyed that, and I can't wait to hear how people have put that to use for themselves. So. Terry,
100%.
what a great show today. Thanks to Angie for her time and all of the magic that she shared. So hopefully everybody gets a ton of inspiration out of that, and make sure that you go check out what she's got going on over there at uxprint.us/Angie. And you can reach out to her at Angie@uxprint.us. So appreciate it.
Oh, I'm sorry. We also want to thank our show producer, Eric Campbell, for all he does to keep us on track, pushing those buttons, turning those wheels.
Yep. Thank you very much. And thank you to Stalls TV. Happy Friday to you as well. So appreciate you checking in. All right. Well, next week, as I kind of alluded to already, we've got Lizbeth Lyons-Black, who's going to be joining us to discuss the Women in Printing Alliance programs and some of their milestones and the large presence they're going to have at the expo. But just kind of, yeah, we love highlighting that, and we've had some great shows with Lizbeth Lyons-Black, and so I cannot wait to have her back with us and learn a little bit more.
Let's be a great opportunity to get that buzz going again about Printing United.
Yep, looking forward to it for sure.
Yeah, until then, I'm Terry Combs. He's Aaron Montgomery.
And that was the Two Regular Guys.
Here we go. We're out.
Awesome.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Two Regular Guys. We're here because of listeners like you, and we're so grateful to have you on this journey with us. For more valuable insight, be sure to visit our website, 2regularguys.com, and join the conversation on our Facebook page. And hey, if you or someone you know has expertise, a unique perspective, or a story worth sharing, we'd love to have them as a guest on the show. Just reach out. Remember, success in this industry isn't just about the equipment you own or the techniques you've mastered. It's about the mindset you bring and the connections you build. Keep learning, stay curious, and don't be afraid to think differently. Keep pressing on, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the Two Regular Guys.